Autism has become an epidemic.
It's your ass, Trump. It's your ass.
Talking about autism and all that stuff, I have that shit. But since the last CEO of Autism raped his mother like every 3 days.
Got really sensitive C-spot because apparently I don't believe he took Mr. C, any of her past boyfriends.
I am the new CEO of Autism. Alright, now here's the thing I know people are gonna like,
oh, but it's like the symptoms are so unknown and all that shit.
while simultaneously buying like the most stereotypical things about autism and all that shit. It's more than just not focusing and fidgeting and all that shit. Also, it's more than just, you know, being socially awkward. It's me to say this right now. The amount of people who think that they have, keyword, think, have autism has skyrocketed throughout the few past years, especially 2020 and 2021, because everyone was fucking inside. Everyone didn't fucking eat sand, everyone didn't smell the grass and shit like that. So even before like the pandemic, like people were making up all these like stupid fucking things that they know damn well, deep down in the mind, deep down in their heart, like when they're like 25, looking back at their own online history, if they even make it past 25, they want to kill themselves. Okay, here's the thing though, I can't wait for like a person who's gonna take this shit seriously and there's some like actual expert like trying to dissect this shit, like this guy's bullshitting because of this study. I don't care about studies, I'm just making a joke here, man, fuck you. Here's the thing though, and they always try to frame being autistic as like this, oh, quirky thing, holy shit, I have that stuff, it's so
Quirky.
It's not quirky. A good chunk of people think of it as like some kind of superpower. In some source I can see why, because everything that is visually, physically designed, the camera I'm using right now, it was designed this way by some nigga who had a brain and all that shit. The boxes I'm using to prop this camera up was designed by a nigga, probably somewhere in China. Designed it this way and make the text look like that, make the colors look like that, how big it should be, you know, for what shoe and all that shit. Some nigga had to think of a way to fucking design the way this shit looked. The fucking Bliss stuff, which I think is like the most famous wallpaper in existence for, I think, Windows or just any history of computers and shit like that. Someone had to think, what the fuck, what logo should we do for Alienware? Oh yeah, just Alien right there. And some other shit like that, and people think of it as a superpower because of that fact, alright? I've already said the reason why so many people seem to think that they have it, or some shit like that. It's just that they this is gonna sound like some shit like, oh, they really want to beat us because we're that special. I mean, they're not wrong that we're special, but I don't think they would want to actually have it, because it could lead them to some very funny shit, but also shit that can fuck you over in the long run. The thing, for me at least, is just me being a bit too quiet sometimes. Quiet. I hate being too quiet. It isn't because of, oh, I don't want to talk to you. No. I'm trying to think of something to say to you, alright? But most of the times it's just some shit that is just, it isn't like embarrassing, it's just stupid shit I come up with in my mind, which is, I think, the positives about that shit, about having autism and all that stuff. I'm not an expert, I need to say that right now. I've not rehearsed this, that's the other thing too. Niggas with this shit talk to themselves so fucking much. I'm only saying that just for me because I talk to myself when I'm like walking. It's like, yeah, this shit is like, you know, that nigga, that nigga must be a pedophile. That guy's gonna have one of the greatest downfalls in human history and all that shit. Like some elaborate story type of shit. Or just like making up big scenarios in your mind. Though that might be anxiety and not autism. But it's like done and executed in a funny ass way. So that's goes back to that shit. The anxiety is when like the amygdala in your brain, which is responsible for your fight or flight responses, is overused. Like, oh fuck, that nigga is gonna kill me. He has a knife behind his back, he's gonna kill me. Oh, that car is gonna hit me right now. Or some shit like that. Just being anxious every single second of your life. Amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, some shit like that, both at odds with each other. Like when you're, let's say you're procrastinating on a school assignment, your prefrontal cortex is telling you, bro, my nigga, do your fucking work, do your work, do your work, but your amygdala, which is the devil of your mind, the devil, like the mental devil, you know, like there's like a devil on your side right here, and there's an angel, right, some kind of man versus self type of shit like that. But it was the amygdala saying, yeah, do that shit, indulge in that. Yeah, you should go on that, you should go on that and do that to yourself. I think that's why like people have so much regret after like indulging in some shit that they know damn well. It's like, yeah, this shit is not good, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Oh, I feel bad now, because that's when the amygdala, it goes off, but your prefrontal cortex is still there. I forgot this video was about autism and not your brain. Do you know what I find funny the most? It's the famous depiction of autism with the fucking puzzle pieces coming out of your mind. Like, god damn, why the fuck would you, why would you do it that way? Missing puzzle pieces, like, what do you mean missing? What do you mean missing? My brain is whole still here. I think at least half the things I've done on the internet in real life too was because of the autism shit. And I'm not saying this, you know, like blame it on that, because I'm only blaming myself, but it's probably like with that drive of we're gonna make you say this and say that and do that and do that in that specific way so everyone can laugh and some shit like that. And here's the thing though, I'm gonna drop maybe at the end of the video or some shit like that. I am entirely convinced that a good chunk of like the most known historical figures in history have autism. I'm not saying this because you know, like, oh, I want to be relatable to like Genghis Khan or some shit or some big nigga in history like that. Now, I'm not saying that to, you know, be relatable or to say like they're quirky or some shit like that. No, I'm being dead serious. Some of the things that these niggas have done that have been documented and passed down or some shit like that are not what normal people do. Besides them being, you know, a big nigga, larger than life and all that shit. And I love this thing. When people hear you say like, oh, that's not normal, or they're not normal, they get pissed. They get absolutely pissed because they think you're saying, oh, that person's not a person. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if most people are not autistic, it's not normal. It's not normal. And I'm saying that as an autistic person, alright? And people usually say like, oh, autistic people are only allowed to use the retard word. No, everyone's allowed to use the retard word. It's not even that bad. It's a literal, I'm thinking of another word. I was gonna say like it was a medical term or some shit like that. It could actually apply as a medical term and some shit like that. Retard, you know, to go back. That's what it means. Oh yeah, the Soviet Union retarded their fucking economy. In that context, it would seem like I'm being like, you know, slangic about like this past country in history. And people think retard as a slur. It is not a fucking slur, it's a word. It's a fucking word. Mostly it's used to call someone stupid, which most of the times when I see people use it, the nigga is retarded. I call myself retarded, alright? It's so stupid, and people call like words that aren't even slurs. It's the funniest thing because you just make up all this shit just so they can just feel like, oh, I'm oppressed. You're not oppressed. You're not. You're fucking not. If you're letting words control you, who controls you? The other person or you? Do you control your mind, or does the other person can fuck with you and go into your mind? Which is like the saddest sign I've always seen. People not gatekeeping their mind and some shit like that from other shit, and letting them wide it open and some shit like that. I'm not saying being open-minded is not good. I'm just saying sometimes when I see people get influenced by remarkably stupid shit, it's just sad because you know damn well what they're doing. You know damn well that they know what they're doing. Maybe not the specific reasons, but it's just sad seeing it. That's the end of the video. If you enjoyed me rambling about some stupid shit, subscribe, like the video. I don't like saying these things, but it works somehow because people are too stupid. Have yourselves a good day or night, and have yourselves a good fucking damn one.